3 methods to apply progressive overload with calisthenics. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, because honestly, each of these 3 methods kind of delivers a different result. So I want you to be aware of those differences, and also I want you to let me know in the comments down below which method do you use the most. But really quick, for those of you new to the channel, let me just introduce myself. My name's Ryan. I'm a certified personal trainer. I love bodyweight fitness and plant-based nutrition. So that's what Minus the Gym is all about. Now let's dive right in. The first method of progressive overload with calisthenics, and it's probably the most popular, is manipulating gravity. And what I mean by this, just an example, is when you extend the lever, meaning you extend your body further away from the fulcrum in a lever. And a great example is when you look at front lever progressions, right? Everybody probably knows that you start with the tucked front lever. But when you're in that tucked position, if you advance to the what's called advanced tuck, moving your knees away from your body and eventually extending one leg, you've just lengthened your body further away from the fulcrum and increased the resistance. Another example of this would be with the basic push-up. If you're doing basic push-ups with your feet on the floor and then you just elevate your feet, you've now kind of changed the angle of your body to the floor and you've shifted more resistance to the pushing muscles. But one thing to keep in mind, I'd say the big downside to relying on manipulation of gravity for your progressive overload is that when you're changing your body's positioning like this, you might also change the muscle recruitment. So if you're using calisthenics to develop your physique, just keep that in mind. Advancing in this way might change which muscle groups you're using. Really quick before I move on, I just want to mention I would love to hear which of these methods for progressive overload you're using the most in your training. So make sure you let me know in the comments down below, because when I hear that from you guys, it helps me make better content that's better suited for your purposes. All right, method number 2, and this is possibly my favorite, I'll explain why, is adding weight. All right, a lot of people say then you're not doing calisthenics if you're adding weight, but I disagree. What I mean by this is just using a weighted vest or a dip belt or whatever you can use to add weight to your body. And what's beautiful about this is that you can add incremental weight just like you would in weightlifting, and the movement doesn't change. So what I talked about in the first method, manipulation of gravity, is that you might change muscle recruitment, but when you're using this method of adding weight, the movement doesn't change at all. So the muscle groups you're using stay the same, and you're just adding more resistance. And the downsides to this method, I would say, are that for one, you're primarily using it to build strength. It's not going to be that helpful in developing skills like manipulation of gravity would do. And also you need more equipment. Like you need to buy a weighted vest or a dip belt, and you need weights. So there's more money and more equipment involved as well. And method number 3 is training volume, meaning you can increase your training volume, like the number of sets you do or the number of reps in each set that you do. And that is a form of progressive overload. So for example, if you're typically doing 3 sets for each exercise and you increase it to 4 sets, that's considered progressive overload. One thing really quick worth mentioning is that when you increase training volume and you increase your work capacity as a result, the mass that you gain from doing that, and it will happen pretty fast, typically in like 2 weeks you'll notice a difference or even less, that is actually not bigger muscles. It's not like your muscle fibers have increased. That's called myofibrillar hypertrophy. That's a result of gaining strength. But when you increase training volume, it's a different type of hypertrophy called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And that means you're simply retaining more sarcoplasmic fluid, which is mainly glycogen and water, because you have more work capacity, right? You're doing more work, so you need more stuff to convert to ATP, which is our raw energy that we use for muscle contractions. So just keep that in mind, that the mass you gain from increasing training volume is different than the mass you gain from building strength with the other methods. All right, everybody, hopefully that clarifies the 3 different methods of progressive overload that you can use with calisthenics. And don't forget to let me know down below which of these methods do you use the most in your training, because that'll help me make better content for you. All right, and also I want to mention if I look kind of red or pink, it's because I've been out in the sun a lot lately. I haven't been uploading as much the past few weeks because I've been hanging out with my family and we've been going swimming a lot and just enjoying the summer. So I hope you've been doing the same if it's summer where you live. I realize for some of you it's not. But yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching. I hope the video was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you then.